From the students of the Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good morning and happy Friday. I'm student meteorologist Brendan Pham here with your Campus Weather Service forecast. As we take a look outside at Beaver Stadium, notice we do have mainly cloudy conditions. And here we're already setting up for the tailgates for tomorrow against our football game against Michigan. Now notice these clouds here. It is actually raining above us, but it's not reaching the ground. This is something to keep an eye on as we take a look at our forecast here. Current conditions here, 43 degrees with our dew point sitting at 32. This is important to see why this rain is not really reaching the surface. Now when we look at the radar has us raining across much of State College and Center County. It even points south and east of here towards Harrisburg and even some mountain snow. Now I believe that mountain snow is actually happening, especially in the higher elevations in places like Canaan Valley, but here locally in Center County, that rain is not reaching the ground because remember that dew point was only sitting in the low 30s and our temperatures were sitting in the 40s. So that big gap in the temperature and dew point shows that we have a really dry air mass, and so that rain is not reaching the surface all the way and is in fact evaporating. Now when we look at a more national view, notice here we do have a very large scale system, and it's essentially tied to this stationary front that's draped over parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. This will slowly move east and southeast as we progress throughout much of the day today and into tomorrow, which will decrease our cloud cover as we head into this afternoon. Now for our temperatures this morning, we are a little bit above average for this time of day. Normally we're sitting around the mid to upper 30s, but now we're sitting in the low 40s. Our warm spot here in Erie, 49 degrees, in Philadelphia, 52 degrees. Erie is only warm just because of the lake. The lake is pretty warm this time of year. Otherwise, our temperatures are really elevation dependent. Notice here in Bradford, one of our highest spots, 34 degrees. So it's pretty much cool out there, but it hasn't been the coldest we've seen in a while. Now, when we look at our national view, notice we do have a really big differentiation in our temperatures as we go southeast to northwest. And this is again because of our stationary boundary. This essentially divides the cold air from the warm air and back into the central plains. Notice we do have many 30s and even some mountain snow in the Rocky Mountains where our temperatures are sitting in the 20s and even teens. Now when we look at our temperatures ahead in our extended forecast, we can really look at our upper air heights, and this is able to tell us what our general forecast trend is going to look like in terms of precipitation and even temperatures. Now notice here this green line is almost the dividing point and is essentially where the jet stream is located across the United States. Notice how it's not really meridional or north and south dependent. It's really going just pretty much east to west. And this comes to show that our temperatures are not really going to fluctuate a lot. So we're not going to see a big dip in temperatures where our highs are going to really dip down to the low 40s, but they're going to be rather consistent throughout much of the day. So as we head into tomorrow and into Sunday, notice the trough here will eventually move out, and as we start the next work week, this ridge in the Central Plains will eventually move eastward as we progress through much of the work week. And that will allow for those temperatures to really accentuate and become above average as we head later into Wednesday and Thursday. But for our future weather for later today, notice these clouds will eventually move off to our east and southeast as we head later into this afternoon. And by tomorrow, we should only see a few intervals of clouds and sun. Maybe more clouds as we start off the day, but those clouds should break apart as we head later into the afternoon and eventually later into the Michigan game. But for our forecast for today, very seasonable conditions, decreasing clouds as that front decides to move off to our east-southeast, 53 degrees and a light west-southwest wind just behind the front. With those decreasing clouds, we will see fewer clouds into the night. Conditions here, temperatures only sitting around 35 degrees, which is actually average for this time of year. Calm wind might mean those temperatures might actually be a bit lower, potentially closer to freezing in our lowest valleys. And finally for tomorrow, temperatures will eventually stay a little bit below average, 48 degrees here. Average here is about 51 with a few intervals of sun and clouds and a light northwest wind to keep things relatively cool for tomorrow. And for our football forecast for tomorrow, we will see a few more clouds to start off the day for Saturday, but eventually those clouds will eventually move off and dissipate as the day progresses. Temperatures here eventually reaching the mid to upper 40s as we head into the fourth quarter. And finally for your 7-day outlook, notice here we don't have many systems to talk about and mainly just sunny conditions with a few clouds here starting off the weekend. But the biggest trend here is going to be the increase in temperatures. Look at this, Wednesday and Thursday, we're almost 60 degrees again. And then once again, that's because of that ridge that will be moving eastward towards Pennsylvania. I'm studio meteorologist Brendan Pham. Happy Friday.